Hey everyone, it's Dabacabb here. I got a chance to play the Junkenstein Brawl, so I just wanted to share my thoughts about it and explain what I think this means for the future of Overwatch and PvE content in general. So first, a little bit about the encounter. I think it's fairly well balanced. It's actually pretty difficult. You have to play a couple of rounds to sort of get the hang of it. One thing that's kind of a complaint is I think that the heroes are kind of like not really balanced against each other, and that some heroes are just more important than others. Like McCree, in my experience, is like the playmaker. It's his plays that make or break the team. Ana is a short follow-up, and then Hanzo kind of pulls back in the rear as the least important person. I mean, sure, like his headshots are one-shot kills, which is kind of a big deal, but in my experience, the game kind of hinges around McCree's ult. When he ults, who he ults, if he can one-shot Reaper, if he can one-shot Mercy. That's just such a big deal. So you really rely on McCree to do his job and do his job well. You need Ana to land the critical sleep darts. You need Ana to get the healing grenades on Roadhog right before he heals. So those two heroes are just super important. You need Ana's boost on McCree. Soldier's really good at killing the ads. Hanzo's pretty good at killing the ads, but just they're a little bit outshined in my experience by the McCree and the Ana. Okay, so that complaint aside, let me just say that I think this game mode is a lot of fun. I totally enjoyed it. I played it for a couple hours last night with my buddies, and then after I sort of got a hang of it, and after we won a few times, I started going for the achievements. I have gotten the one where you beat it on medium without doing any damage to the door. That wasn't too bad. It took a few tries to sort of get the feel for it. And I have not done the hard difficulty one yet. I've only made a couple attempts, but I'm looking forward to trying that out later. So it's fun overall. I am enjoying it. I've also got to say that the amount of polish and detail that Blizzard put into this Brawl actually exceeded my expectations. It's extremely well polished. The map is beautiful. It's really thematic. It's got this cool sort of like retro Frankenstein movie vibe to it. There are unique voice lines between every pairing of the four heroes. So I probably played this game, I don't know, 10 or 12 times so far, and I'm still hearing voice lines that I had never heard before. So it's a cool way to sort of develop the heroes and give them more personality. And like they did this cool thing where they gave it sort of like a mild fantasy vibe. Like Ana's not just a healer with a sniper rifle, she is an alchemist. And Hanzo is an archer. You know, he's not like an assassin from the Shimada clan. He's just an archer from the east. So it's got this cool vibe to it. It kind of gives you a glimpse of what Overwatch might be like if it were a fantasy FPS shooter instead of a near future sci-fi FPS future, which is cool because I really dig fantasy. So I like the idea of Ana being an alchemist and Hanzo being just an archer rather than a techno sci-fi archer. So it's cool, sort of a cool touch. I mean, just overall, I think the game mode is very well done. It's challenging, it's polished, it's pretty, it's well put together, it's flavorful, and like I'll play this a lot during this event, and next time it comes out, I'll probably play it again on the Brawl. However, this is more of a like meta complaint than it is a complaint against this game overall. I feel like Blizzard did not go far enough. This is kind of like an appetizer. It's like getting their feet wet. It's just a taste of what they're capable of. And I like what I see. I definitely want to see more. It's just, it doesn't go far enough. And I mean, there are a couple... Okay, so I understand why they did this Brawl the way they did. They've never done a PvE encounter like this before, so it kind of makes sense that they would start off slow and limit it to just 4 heroes. That way they can, you know, control the event. They don't have to pay for voice lines between all 23 heroes. They just have to pay for the ones for 4 heroes. It sort of reduces production time. It allows them to internally playtest it with just 4 heroes pretty well. So that makes sense. I understand why they did that. However, when we play this, I remember like one of the first things my buddy said was, man, I wish I could play Bastion, and I wish I could play Symmetra and Torbjorn and Reinhardt. And that we agreed that would kind of be the dream team, those 4 heroes. And I'm inclined to agree. Those 4 heroes would be totally broken in this encounter. So like the assumption from there is that if you allowed all heroes, then this encounter would be trivially easy. or it would be so difficult if you don't pick those 4 heroes that it would be effectively impossible. And after talking to my buddies about that a little bit, I concluded that that is not the case. I think it is definitely possible to have a defend the castle wall game mode where Bastion is equally as viable as Tracer. However, you can't have this specific game mode. You can't have this encounter, Junkenstein's monsters, and still make Bastion as viable as Tracer. What you would have to do is tweak the encounter a little bit such that the threats and the benefits were all dynamic. Now, what I mean by that is, right now, basically, there's just the orange robots who just sort of walk aimlessly towards the door, and they're the blue ones that shoot you, and then there are occasional heroes. So, like, Bastion Torbjorn would just destroy these heroes. But if you add in more variable threats, then that wouldn't be the case anymore. Like, let's say, for example, that there were 2 doors that you needed to defend instead of 1. Suddenly, those really slow defensive-based characters like Bastion or Torbjorn wouldn't be nearly as good because, you know, after they defend door 1, they have to go defend door 2, and that's definitely a disadvantage for characters like Torbjorn and Bastion who need time to set up, and you know, they sort of rely on a slow start to really get going. Also, you know, you could have enemies, monsters, who come up and deal a lot more damage, who are fast and hard to kill, which would make tanks way more viable. I mean, there's so little damage coming at you outside of the boss fights that healers are kind of not super important. So if you made monsters more of a threat, dealing more damage to people, then it would definitely be more viable to have healers and tanks on your team as opposed to just basically 4 reliable damage dealers, which is what we have here. And then, you know, characters like Genji and Tracer don't really excel in these sort of encounters, but like, imagine that you had characters in the back, sort of like Anna, who were shooting the monsters and healing them. Or artillery behind the castle walls who were lobbing grenades over the castle wall back in the distance, which were threatening sort of stationary characters like Bastion and Torbjorn. So in that case, characters like Genji, Pharah, and Tracer, who have a lot of mobility, would benefit a lot from being able to quickly dip back behind enemy lines, take out those hard-to-reach threats, and then return to the front. Also, one of the really cool things about PvE content like this is that you can have, like, basically a game mode where you acquire resources, like you level up or you build fortifications like turrets, and in that case you could have, you know, resources way back in the back that Tracer or Genji could pick up and bring to the front, and everyone else could use to give them, you know, more damage, more armor, build fortifications like walls, things like that. So it's definitely possible to make a game mode where Genji is just as viable as Bastion. It's just, you can't do it like this. You have to give the game a little bit more finesse, a little bit more thought. You need to create dynamic and difficult, diverse encounters that will require a very diverse set of players to overcome, as opposed to just a bunch of Zomniks slowly walking towards the door. So I'm really hoping that Blizzard, you know, follows through with this and continues to develop this and, you know, make cooler and more robust encounters, because if this is the taste of what they can do, I definitely want more. This was super fun. It's just, man, I wish they would go further. I wish they would have a development system. Like, I don't know if you guys knew this, but back when this was not even in open beta, or rather when it was not even in closed beta, they had like a level up talent system. And one of the examples they gave was Reaper talent was that whenever he would Wraith form, he would heal to full, and they eventually dropped that. But in a PvE mode, that would be totally fine. You could have a little talent tree that people could level up. And I think that would be a really cool way to add some flavor and strategy to this game. So let me know your thoughts. Did you like this Brawl? Do you want to see more Brawls like this in the future? Would you like to see PvE made into its own complete game mode? Do you agree with my points? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Dabacabb out.